And what I hear, what I'm starting to understand is that, and even for myself, it's very gradual, you know, and that's why preventative measures are so important, you know. I understand, you know, the drinking thing too. After my divorce, when I didn't have my kids on the weekend, I started drinking so much. I felt so alone, and I didn't quite, you know, have agoraphobia, but I also did not want to be out. I started to kind of fear people and fear myself because I felt like I couldn't even form sentences anymore, you know. And it was so strange because I was just this fully functioning woman into this, like, all of a sudden I'm drinking too much on the weekends, and I don't want to be out. I don't want to see people. I don't want to go. I don't even want to go to a store. And it all felt like it was just, it just was like this huge volcano that had erupted, because really underneath there it was all those years since I was little.
Yeah.
And just never going to a doctor, never getting help around it, and then all of a sudden it's like, poof.
Yeah.
So if we can help people understand, like, if you're experiencing headaches, or if you're tired more than usual, sleeping more than normal, not wanting to go outside, not wanting to be a part of, like, I guess, old routines, and, you know, not wanting to do the things you enjoy. Like, I mean, I used to love to go see music and cooking, and all of a sudden, I'm not doing those things. And those are, first of all, signs for friends to understand, or family. And two, if you can recognize that in yourself, there's ways to get ahead of, you know, getting to a point where it's more of a rock bottom-ish type situation.
Yeah. And I think as well, if, you know, a kid is not necessarily anxious at that time, it doesn't have, the problem is now that it's just kind of like you have to get to the really bad point before people or even yourself notice and take action, whereas a kid could be struggling with headaches or a lot of stress, and they might not end up having a mental health issue for years and years, but it's something that you want to start working on for all kids at a young age, even if they're not necessarily like the anxious type of kid, or there doesn't seem to be anything outwardly wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So for you personally now, are there specific things that you do to help with your mental health? Are there, you know, do you meditate or do anything like that?
I try to meditate. Yeah, I do a lot of mindfulness work, so meditation is one thing, but I feel like anything could be mindfulness if you like are mindful about it. So I do things like journaling. Obviously, it's something that I've always done. Like, I've always drawn in sketchbooks and journaled. I go for long walks with my dogs. Just having pets is a big thing for me. Like, they really help me get outside of myself. I just appreciate the way that like dogs or animals can just be in the present all of the time. So I try and spend time with them and appreciate that.
Don't you have a pug?
Yes, well, I had 3 pugs.
Okay, you have 3. And you wrote a book about that, right?
Yes, yeah. I wrote a couple of books, A Pug's Guide to Etiquette and A Pug's Guide to Dating, from the pug's perspective of etiquette and how to behave.
Oh my gosh, can you just touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I wanted to write a book about pugs. I'd loved pugs for a long time, even before I got my own. I actually started out, so in England there weren't very many pugs around. Like, I never really saw one until I was a teenager, and I just actually it was a little bit later, because the first ones that I really saw in person were in San Francisco when my then boyfriend, now husband, and I were there, and we stumbled upon this pug meetup in one of the parks, and I was like, what are these majestic creatures? Like, we just kind of sat and watched them, and I fell in love with pugs, and I said, like, one day we're gonna have a pug. And so I started drawing a lot of pugs, and I did this design called Pugs Not Drugs, and it was it blew up. It was like I think it was like 10 years ago from now. It ended up being on a t-shirt in Urban Outfitters. So it became this huge thing. Like, there was like some celebrities wore the shirt and stuff, and so I said, like, once I've made enough money from this design that I can afford to have a pug, we're gonna get one. So we ended up getting our first pug, Mr. Pickles, who is now 12. Yeah, since then we've always had like 2 or 3 pugs at one time. So at the moment I have Mr. Pickles and Bean, she's a little black pug, and Xander, who is a pug Chihuahua mix.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah, so I wanted to make a book about pugs, and I wanted to approach it from a humorous angle, so I thought A Pug's Guide to Etiquette would be good. It's kind of based on like Victorian etiquette books, but obviously pugs are very unrefined.
Yeah.
So
what is one of their recommendations for etiquette?
I think that when having guests over in the parlor, that one must sit upon the rug and lick your genitals in front of them. Is one of the important tips.
That's right. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna have to get this book. And what's one for dating?
One for dating is, I know there's a poem which is, roses are red, violets are blue. If you sniff my butt, can I sniff yours too? Something along those lines. There's a lot of butt-related humor, I guess, in these books.
Well, that's what they do.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, the other day I was at a park with my dog, and this one dog just would not let my dog go. Like, it would not let him go.
Yeah, there's a point where it becomes like, should I intervene? Or like,
yeah, exactly.
What do we do?
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt your things that you do, but I'm glad that you touched on that, because when I was looking up your work, I know that pugs are really important to you. And I just think that's really cool. And taking care of animals is another way to, help in some ways. And because we had a dog right when we were getting a divorce, and I didn't know that the dog was then going to be with me full time. And Kona is his name. He's a golden doodle. He's just so sweet. And so at the time, I just had my kids full time, and I was used to being a single mom. And we lived downtown in a building, and I was kind of mad about it. Like Kona should go with the kids when they leave. But I look back on it, and Kona was there for me, and it forced me to get out of the house and take care of him when the kids weren't there, and that was very important. And so, if you are going through something, at times it may seem like a burden, but it's actually an angel in your house.
Yeah.
And they care so much about you. And Kona actually worried about me for quite a while even after I got through my things, and I could sense it.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really sweet. Yeah, dogs are great. They, any kind of thing that gets you outside of yourself is good. Like, I will get very stuck in ruminating inside my own head, and, then the dogs will need to go outside, and that will snap me out of it. But talking about things that I do, so anything that is kind of interacting with other people, particularly helping other people, is good. Like something like volunteering, is really helpful. Something that keeps you really busy as well, so that you don't even have time to ruminate. Because for me, I'm also an introvert, so I like staying indoors and I like just sitting and reading, and I could easily not go outside all day, but forcing myself to do that in some way, whether it's walking the dogs or going for a long walk, is really helpful.
Yeah, and I heard it's good to kind of, walking is good because you do it in a way it can like match with your heart rhythm and get you into a place that is mindful.
Yeah.
You don't, bring your music.
But then that can also be mindful in a different way.
That's right, absolutely. And music's important too.
Yeah. Even like I listen to a lot of podcasts, even like a podcast about murders, which is one of my favorite genres. Can still be, it's just getting out of your thought loops in whatever way you can, like whatever you enjoy. No judgment. Yeah,
absolutely. So you practice being mindful, you practice and you walk a lot, and then journaling, and also helping others, Mental Health of America, and I think that covered most of it. And take care of your dogs.
Yes.
Can do that. No, those are all really helpful, and I like to highlight those things so others know, if they're in a place of confusion or what can help them right now. It's just good to know what you do to support your mental health. Yeah. Do you ever find a time where it's kind of like a block, whether it's with writing or, your comics? Like, do you ever have blocks?
Yes. Pretty often. And the way I get out of them is to, firstly, just get out of the room, out of the house, go for a walk, go look at something else. I really like going to like thrift stores and antique stores, and they're like museums really of stuff. So just looking at a lot of different stuff. But also just accepting that there are days where I can't get the work done and it's just not happening. I try not to do this, but I have a tendency to kind of catastrophize, like, it's not working, it's never going to work again, this is it, this is my last idea, I'm done. It's like, I may as well just, like, I started, like, thinking about what other job I could do, because I'm like, this is it, I'm completely finished. And then the next day it will be like a great day and I'll be super productive. So I just have to remind myself that one bad day does not mean that this is the end, you know.
No, and that's so important, important for people to understand. I'm at that point now where I realize that, and if I'm having a day where, my emotions are taking over, I just have to let myself do that, give myself permission.
Yeah.
Like, this is just, maybe it'll only be half a day, maybe it's a day, but I'm going to be okay. And then tomorrow will be a new day, and I'll be able to start getting back to that space again. And I think that was so hard for me to understand for the longest time, because I was taught, and I have a strong work ethic, but it's like, you're supposed to be working every day, all day, otherwise, you're a POS or something, and that's what I tell myself, and it's just not true.
Yeah. And also, if you spend that day getting stressed and obsessing over not getting work done, you're just making yourself feel worse. You're potentially going to make yourself feel sick, and then you're going to have a week off because you made yourself really sick. Right. Whereas if you just take that time and say, okay, it's not working right now, I'm going to do some of my self-care stuff. Tomorrow I'll start again. You're much more likely to have a better day the next day than if you spent the previous day just stressed and, getting worse and worse.
Absolutely. My big go-to is to take a bath.
Yes.
It's
yeah,
like
me too.
I have to submerge myself in water, and it just feels so nice. And I try to put on like a meditation deal, and just be in that. It will maybe not completely get me out of it, but it will take me. It's a good step.
Yes.
In the right direction. Just like soothing.
Yeah, I love baths too, and baths with Epsom salts. Really nice.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Well, I'm curious about South by, and I know that you're here for a few days. What is next on your journey?
So my panel is this afternoon. So between now and then, I'm just going to write a little bit and spend some time on self-care. Actually, I could go out and do loads of stuff, but I know that I need to feel kind of refreshed, so I'm gonna go and sit in a cafe and drink some tea, I think. And then once my panel is done, I'm gonna try and go and see some of the film festival. I think there's a lot of like shorts that I want to see, some animations. I'm really interested in the you were talking about the ladies from Puerto Rico who have made the film. Without Prescription. That sounds great. So I'm going to try and go see that. And yeah, just kind of navigate this whole very overwhelming schedule of things while also being mindful of not overdoing it, which I have a tendency to do. Like, if there's stuff to do, I'm like, I need to do all of it.
Yeah, I hear you on that. What and then are you going to be on any other festival tracks after this?
No, that's it, just today. And
okay.
Then,
yeah, that's great. Well, Gemma, it's just been wonderful having you here.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I just think that I'm such a fan now. I'm gonna follow your work, and I have to go get those books. And then I saw online that you have some fun socks. And
I do, yes.
Yeah. And even I think it's I want my kids to look at it. You know, I just feel like, you know, we all have days, and kids especially, they don't always understand what's going on, and for them to, I know that they can relate somehow, and I just, I'm realizing, it's taken me a long time to realize that there can be humor in mental health.
Yeah.
And to not take ourselves so seriously.
Right.
And I think that for me has really been a hard transition, because life was always so serious. And I'm just being able to, you know, laugh and what you do brings so much joy to the world.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think humor is really important, because with mental illness, it can be all-encompassing. It's like your whole life, every day, every minute is spent thinking about it. But it isn't the only thing in life, and, you know, it's okay to create some space and use humor as a coping mechanism, you know. So, yeah, if my work makes one person laugh or helps one person understand something about themselves, then that's great. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gemma, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I would love to have you on again sometime. If you're ever in Austin or in California, I'd love to reach out to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us at Speak as One. You can hear Gemma's stories and others at speakasone.com, or you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Speak as One. Please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Thank you.